Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. This is the 7th video of the Decoding Martial Proverb series. If you have not watched the prior videos of this series yet, I suggest you check them out first and then come back to this. I guarantee you that you will find a lot of interesting information which will help your practice, no matter what style. Also, if you apply the principles explained in these videos, you will certainly see immediate results. In China, people describe this phenomenon by using the term 立竿见影, or a shadow is cast as soon as a pole is raised. If you study Mandarin, I'm sure you have encountered this term before. Next week's video will be the second monthly Q&A video. So, if you have any questions related to martial arts, Xiu Dao, or topics related to Chinese culture, please leave a comment. I will answer some of them next week. Of course, if you have posted questions as comments on previous videos, that's fine too. I will go through them as well. Also, I will treat all YouTube questions as public questions and will display your name and original comments while answering your question. If you prefer to have your name withheld, please edit your questions right away and make that clear. And going forward, it would be best if you use email for questions for which you rather remain anonymous. With that out of the way, let's go back to today's video topic. A couple of weeks ago, I started introducing some abstract topics. More specifically, I introduced topics related to power generation, body structure, and coordination. These are quite advanced topics requiring some training background in order to fully understand them. Based on a lot of feedback, I realized that there are many people in the community who really understand these advanced topics very well. I'm very happy to see this. Therefore, I will continue talking about more advanced knowledge of the internal style of martial arts. Also, since the topics I covered are mostly fundamental principles of martial art and Xiu Dao, which depend on human biology and philosophy, this knowledge is essentially timeless. So, the content in these videos will stay relevant for the foreseeable future. I sincerely aim to document all the necessary knowledge related to the internal style and Xiu Dao in order to benefit both current and as well as future generations. In today's video, I will introduce two proverbs. The first one is 行取力直, or arc form but straight force. The second proverb is about four imageries of 形意, 鸡腿, 龙身, 熊背, 虎抱头, or rooster stepping, dragon body, bear shoulder, tiger head. Let's get started. To explain the first proverb, 行取义之 better, I will focus on the following topics. First, philosophical background of this proverb. Second, early record in the context of martial training theory. Third, application of this term in martial practice. Fourth, further development. Fifth, my own understanding. For the second proverb, I will focus on interpretation. First, philosophical background of this proverb. In Chinese history, there is an important document named 尚书, or Classic of History, or Book of Documents. It's one of the 5 classics of ancient Chinese literature. It is a collection of rhetorical prose attributed to figures of ancient China, and has served as the foundation of Chinese political philosophy for more than 2,000 years. There have been two important versions of these documents over the years. The longer one, which is considered as the old text version, was believed to be discovered in the wall of Confucius' family estate in Shandong by his descendant Kong Anguo in the late 2nd century BCE. Later, this book was lost at the end of the Han Dynasty and rediscovered in the 4th century CE. There are a lot of stories about different versions of this interesting document. In the interest of time, I will not go deeper into this. Basically, Shangshu is considered an ancient Chinese history collection of documents. The Shangshu contains a chapter called Hongfan, or the Great Plan. This chapter describes the worldview of the Zhou period, 1100 to 221 BCE, in metaphorical terms. This book is the oldest surviving text to describe the theory of the 5 elements. The nature of the 5 elements is planned as follows. The nature of the water is to soak and descend. The nature of the fire to blaze and ascend. The nature of wood to be curved and straight. The nature of the metal to yield and change, while the nature of the earth is seen in seed sowing and harvesting. In China, Marxist scholars explain that this image of nature revealed inherent dialectics and a materialist approach. In the future, if someone asks you where the term 5 elements came from, well, you can say that according to the written history, this concept was first introduced in the Great Plan, a chapter of Classic of History. So, according to that book, the nature of wood is qu and zhi, or curved and straight. A pair of interdependent and interchangeable natures used to describe different things in the universe. Later on, starting from about 1,000 years ago, qu, zhi, or curved and straight have been mainly used to describe the negative or positive aspect of different things, especially concepts like right and wrong, merit and demerits, pros and cons. So, over the years, a philosophical term became a term used to judge behavior, activity, and result of certain events. Second, early record as the martial training theory. The earliest reference to 5 elements in a martial context can be dated back to the Ming Dynasty, a period that I believe was the best time in terms of development of military and martial training. Tang Shunzhi, courtesy name Yingde, who lived from 1507 to 1560, was a very famous Confucianism scholar, military commander, mathematician, essayist, as well as considered a national hero back then. As the supreme commander of the province of Zhejiang, he participated in campaigns against the Wokou pirates. For his military achievement, he was appointed as the Right Assistant Inspector-in-Chief. He wrote many books on a vast range of topics, including astronomy, music, geography, mathematics, military affairs, literary theory, and commentaries on historical periods. In his famous book, Wu Bian, or Book of Warfare, He used the five-element theory to describe the military spear practice. He said, the spear practice applied dynamic and static movements for defense and offense with five elements together, describing its nature, including metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, in relation to specific spear movement such as hook, block, strike, twist. Third, applications of this term in martial practice. Later on, around the same period of time during the mid to late Ming Dynasty, some important martial artists such as Ji Jike, the founder of Xinyi, and Wang Zongyue, commonly believed to be the first Tai Chi scholar in history, both used the five elements concept in their documents. From then on, the five elements became an important theory of Chinese martial art practice, especially Xingyi, which is based on five-element theory as a fundamental principle of the system. We already know that each of the five elements has its own character, and each of them is used to describe its practice as five elements. And even today, any Xingyi practitioner has to understand the five-element concept and practice the five-element fist. Fourth, further development. However, is the nature of characteristics of each of the five elements emphasized equally? Well, the short answer is no. I can say that many famous internal martial artists focus on the nature of a wood element, which, as I mentioned before, is qu zhi, or curve and straight, since this term or these two words perfectly express the nature of martial power and the mechanism of power generation. Let me continue explaining it by introducing how this term developed in later martial practice. First, Wu Yuxiang, a prominent Tai Chi scholar as well as the Wu Hao style Tai Chi founder, created the concept of qu zhong qiu zhi, which translates to practice the straight in the circular. Here, qu or curved means defense or movements used to neutralize the opponent's attack. Zhi or straight is offense or attack. Qu or curve here actually means to accumulate the energy, while zhi or straight means release the energy. So, the complete sentences written by him is actually qu zhong qiu zhi, xu er hou fa, or practice the straight in the circular movement, release the power after accumulation of it. His concept was developed based on Chinese archery, which I have talked about in my last video. This is why Hao Shaoru, the grandson of Wu Hao style master Hao Weizhen, created the concept of Shen Bei Wu Gong, or the body should have five bows in Tai Chi practice. As an aside, Hao Weizhen was the Tai Chi teacher of Sun Lutang. So, in Tai Chi practice, qu zhong qiu zhi, an application of the curve and the straight concept, talks about the body mechanism for power generation. Second, Liu Xilan, Xue Dian, and many other Xingyi masters always emphasized the application of a curve and straight in Xingyi practice. I have to say that since Xingyi is the close range style, meaning that Xingyi practitioners focus on the short distance in fighting, all of the Xingyi masters emphasized the importance of a qu or curve in practice. We can find this type of teaching in all of the classic Xingyi documents. For example, the famous 24 principles of Xingyi practice theory talks about 3 curves. Third, Wang Xiangzhai, the founder of Yichuan, a style derived from Xingyi, also emphasized the concept of a curve and straight. He created his own concept regarding the relationship between curve and straight in martial practice. That theory is 形取力直, or form is curved, but force is straight. Here, being curved means circular movement and a certain area of our body, such as arms, legs, maintain a curved structure. He emphasized that in order to have the straight force, the form of the movement should be curved. The force will not be powerful if the movement is straight. You will have the full direction force in your body while the movement is curved. I would say that Wang's concept is the most advanced in terms of explaining the relation between the curve and the straight compared to other concepts created by previous generations of masters. Fifth, my own understanding. Of course, I respect all of the theoretical knowledge contributed by previous generations. However, in the course of my own analysis, I found the concept to still be quite abstract, especially when teaching to beginners. To help my students understand the concept of curve and straight better, I created my own version of the proverb. It is 形取力直，画法多曲，打法多直，曲中有直，直中有曲. In English, you can translate it to curve form straight force, move curved to defend, move straight to attack. Circular force in straight movement, straight force in circular movement. I would like to say that any theory, principle, and practice developed often has its limitation caused by many factors, such as the level of education of the people involved, linguistic barriers, and so on. We respect tradition in terms of respecting the spirit of pursuing reality in practice. There is nothing wrong with working on improvement of those proverbs in terms of clarity of explanation, interpretation, and adding more contents. In fact, it's our duty to do so. For example, please think about the proverb which I'm talking about today. In the internal cells, we should not separate the circular and the straight forces. They should be integrated together since they are inseparable due to the nature of yin and yang, or qu and zhi. I use the yin and yang concept to explain the relationship between qu and zhi, not the nature of wood, which we talked about earlier in this video. It is a new development to this concept. Now, let's summarize this proverb. The term qu and zhi were originally from Chinese philosophy, used to describe the nature of the wood. Then it was used in military documents to describe spear movements. Then Tai Chi and Xingyi documents adopted these terms to express the inner relationships among different movements. As a result, in a martial context, it came to be used to describe the nature of power and the required body structure. Now, the second proverb is about full imagery of Xingyi. 鸡腿, 龙身, 熊背, 虎抱头, or rooster stepping, dragon body, bear shoulders, tiger head, or tiger holding its head. This is a very popular Xingyi proverb. I can say that every Xingyi practitioner should understand this proverb. In classic Xingyi training manuals, this proverb is called 形意四象. Like I mentioned in prior videos, traditionally, Chinese martial artists preferred using imagery to name and describe a martial movement. Since Xingyi's main practical contents are based on 5 elements and 12 animals, there are a lot of forms named after animal imagery. However, the second proverb, which is called full imagery, reflects the basic principle of a Xingyi posture or a movement. Xingyi practitioners use this full imagery concept to guide their practice no matter what elements or animal form. So it's worthwhile to explain this proverb in more detail. This proverb is commonly believed to be created by Sun Lutang, the great internal style master who created Sun-style Tai Chi Chuan. Some people said that this proverb was created by other prior masters including Li Luoneng, the Xingyi founder himself. But according to the written records, Sun Lutang was the first to document it in his book. My opinion is that most likely Sun Lutang was the first one to record this, but I found it unlikely that he would be the creator of this proverb. The reason is very simple. Before Sun Lutang's book, there already was other terms used in both Xingyi and Xingyi document, which was 六艺 or 6 arts. There are 2 versions. The 6 arts from the Muslim Xingyi style taught by Ma Xueli include rooster stepping, dragon waist, bear shoulder, eagle capture, tiger head, and thunder sound. The other version of 6 arts taught by Dai family Xingyi in Shanxi province include rooster stepping, dragon body, monkey back, bear waist, eagle shoulder, and tiger head or tiger holding its head. In Hebei style, people call 6 arts as 6 harmonies. Practitioners such as Jiang Rongqiao said in his Xingyi book, 形意母权 or 形意 Mother Form Manual, that the concept of the 6 harmonies is used to emphasize the importance of the body movement and that each movement should meet the requirement of the 6 harmonies or 6 animal imageries. So many Xingyi practitioners called it 6 art or 6 harmonies. But Sun Lutang called it 4 imageries by removing the eagle capture and the thunder sound. Now you may wonder which one is better. Well, Sun Lutang's version is easier to remember and memorize. However, if you are willing and able to remember 2 more imageries, then the older version is better. So it's totally up to you. But I have to remember both since I teach Xingyi. In today's video, I will use the Sun Lutang's version since it is easier for you to remember. First, rooster stepping. This imagery emphasizes the stability and flexibility of Xingyi stepping. It is important to know that there are a lot of single leg stance in Xingyi. Some of them are very obvious since one leg will be off of the ground. But there are many other stances which may look like 2 leg stance but are effectively single leg stance because only one leg supports the entire body while the other leg merely touches the ground. This kind of stance, which is very well described by the imagery of a rooster, makes the Xingyi step very fast. Many years ago, a student of mine demonstrated his rooster stepping for me. He learned it from another teacher. I noticed that in his Pi-Chuan step, his back foot moves forward to the ankle of the supporting leg. he repeated his back foot moving forward and backward for 3 times. Then I asked him why he practiced like that. He said that his teacher told him that in Xingyi stepping, one has to repeat the forward and backward movement by the hanging foot at least 3 times, since Xingyi used the rooster stepping. Then I asked him why not 5 times. He said that 3 is a good number in Chinese tradition. I mentally face-palmed on hearing this. What a ridiculous story. Second, dragon body. To the best of my knowledge, dragons do not exist, neither in China nor elsewhere. However, that they may exist for you if you become too obsessed with the Game of Thrones. But regardless, the dragon is a very interesting imagery in Chinese culture, and many martial artists use the dragon imagery to describe the body movement in practice, including upward motion and spiral body movement. So, the dragon body imagery in Xingyi requires to make the whole body flexible in order to release a comprehensive force. Remember, in the context of Xingyi, we should imitate the dragon imagery, and not just merely twist the body or imitate some person's imagination of a dragon's movement. Or it will end up being an imagery of an earthworm, which is definitely not Xingyi. Third, bare shoulder. We all know what the characteristics of bare shoulders are. They are strong, powerful, and flexible. Based on my personal experience, when I judge someone's Xingyi practice, very often I pay attention to their shoulders, because if they practice Xingyi correctly and diligently, their shoulder should be very strong. Fourth, tiger head or tiger holding its head. This is the controversial term in the Xingyi full imagery concept. Some people call it tiger head, while some others call it tiger holding its head. The first version emphasizes that in Xingyi practice, one's neck should be as strong as tiger's neck. Here, head actually means neck. The other version says that the imagery is like a tiger standing up and holding its 2 front legs in front of its head. I would say both of them are correct, but I prefer the second one since this version is consistent with the other 3 imageries. So, this proverb tells you to step like a rooster, move the body like a dragon, develop shoulders to be as strong as the bear's, and hold up your arms like a tiger standing, raising its front legs. That is the explanation of the Xingyi full imagery concept. Also, please keep in mind that my emphasis on the word imagery does not imply actual imitation of the animal's movement, including its mannerism. Like I explained in a prior video, we should grasp and master the spirit of the animal. That is the core principle of a Xingyi practice. Demonstration. Today, I'd like to demonstrate a single exercise used to develop power-releasing skills. For this movement, instead of demonstrating the forward Fa-Li movement, I will demonstrate the Fa-Li movement in a backward motion. It emphasizes the dragon body, bare shoulders, and the tiger holding its head concept. Of course, the rooster stepping is missing here since I'm using a stationary stance to demonstrate this. Hello, I'd like to demonstrate one movement that using the backward movement Fa-Li. By doing so, it will help you understand the Xingyi full imagery concept better. So open the feet like this, then downward, upward, then extend, bike. When you're ready, put the force on, 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 on. So you can repeat this movement as many times as you want. Takeaways. Two main proverbs and related terms have been introduced in today's video. 曲中求直 or practice the straight in the circular movement. 身背武功 or the body should have 5 balls. 行曲立直 or form is curved and force is straight. 行曲立直，画法多曲，打法多直，曲中有直，直中有曲。In English, it can be translated to curved form, straight force. Move curved to defend. Move straight to attack. Circular force in straight movement, straight force in circular movement. Fifth, 鸡腿、龙腰、熊背、虎豹头 or rooster stepping, dragon body, bear back, tiger head or tiger holding its head. That's end today's video. Thank you for watching. See you next time and enjoy your practice.